Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to the Coaching Corner. It's my favorite day of the week. One of my favorite days of the week. It's Tuesday. I love it. I get to come on and be with all of you. All right. All right. So, tonight's topic is summer is your secret weapon if you use it right. And I think a lot of you know what I'm talking about. Okay? So summer is your secret weapon if you use it right. But before we get into the topic, those of you who are new to the coaching corner, I am Jamila, aka the IEP Coach. I am the founder and CEO of the IEP Coach LLC. We are a consulting company and we specialize in supporting charter schools, special education leaders with their special education systems. Because oftentimes you have that one person, they know all the systems, they know how to do all the things. They get overwhelmed, they get burnt out, and they quit, and then all of your systems have walked out of your school, and now your school is at risk for litigation. So that's where the IEP coach comes in at. We support either your SPED leader in assisting them with improving the special education systems, or we work with your SPED leader and your SPED team, making sure everyone is trained on the systems, the protocols, the workflows, everything is documented so that way no matter who comes or who leaves, the systems stay at your school. All right. That's just a little bit about us at the IEP Coach LLC. And please remember, we have our webinars that we do every single month. The next one is going to be May 28th. It is the top 3 IEP meeting mistakes and how to fix them, backed by popular demand because the last one filled up. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and drop that in the comments for you to register. It is absolutely free. All right, and it is May 28th. All right. Those of you who are on Instagram, you can click the link in the bio and you can register as well. And it's also in the show notes. If you are on YouTube, it is in the show notes as well. I'm going to go ahead and pin it here on Instagram. And we are streaming live from our Instagram, our TikTok, our Facebook, our LinkedIn, and our YouTube page. Almost forgot YouTube. All right. Okay. Let me put this here so I can pin it. Alrighty. Space that over. Post. Y'all, it is hot. What was it? 98 degrees today? Shh. It was hot. I couldn't wait to get back in the house. I was in the air conditioning. Thank goodness, but I could not wait to get back home in the house. All right, so, and before we go any further, make sure you share out this live. Okay, make sure you share this out because this is an important live. Share this out with your teacher friends. Share this out with your SPED leaders, your principals, your APs. Share this out because this is an important conversation that we are going to have. All right, and then once we get to the end, you got any questions? Whether it's about our topic or you just got a SPED related question, we will answer it right here on a live. So this is why it is so important that you come to the coaching corner every Tuesday because we will answer your questions right here on the live by yours truly, the IEP coach. Come on now. All right. So now when the summertime comes, okay, you have some people who work in education. They're like, listen, I'm not doing nothing. And granted, educators, leaders, administrators, providers, relators. Listen, working in the schools with the children, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and you absolutely deserve that rest. Absolutely deserve the rest. So you have people who like, listen, I'm not doing nothing. Don't talk to me about school. Don't ask me about work. Then you have some people like, oh my God, the summer, I can't wait to prep this and this and this and this, and they ignore their rest. And then you have the people who are resting and they just ignore some things they should prep, right? And so you feel like, okay, you have to choose rest or getting ahead of next year so you don't repeat any of the same things. So we're going to dismantle that tonight because you can have both. You got to have balance though. Okay? You have to have balance. So last week I talked about retention. keeping people and things of that nature. This week, we're focusing on how can you have balance? How can you have rest and plan ahead? Okay. And it all starts with having a plan. It all starts with having a plan. And of course, it aligns with our core framework. All right. So listen, let me show you the trap that most leaders fall into. Even you have SPED teachers that fall into this. Okay. So you lie to yourself about the summer. Again, because you feel like you got to pick rest or pick preparation, like preparing for the next, school year. You feel like you got to pick. Do I rest or do I prep? Because some teachers are like, oh, let me lesson plan. And they don't rest. You got some people that rest and they're like, and it's like they have things that they need to prep for. And you feel like whichever one you pick, it's like you still kind of come up empty-handed because it's still this other piece that you need. Okay? Because some people are like, okay, I'm going to pick rest. And then here come August, you're going to pay for it when August comes. Because you're going to be like, dang, I should have at least done X, Y, Z. Then if you choose work, you're going to be burnt out by October because you didn't rest at all. And you're going to lose yourself in the role. So you got to have you got to have balance between the work and the rest. Okay? Because if you choose one over the other, you're going to have the same end result. You're going to be depleted in some way. You're either going to pay for it in your rest, not getting rest. You may end up in the hospital, like I did, or you're going to end up at the school year in survival mode again. Okay? And we don't want that. Okay? We don't want that. All right? So, I don't want you to feel like, okay, if I choose this, then here come August. No, August doesn't ambush you. Basically, if you choose one or the other, August is invoicing you for what you didn't do in June. Basically, that's what it is. You're paying for it. August is going to invoice you for everything you didn't do in June or whenever your break started. Okay? Now, if you really want to rest, it requires a plan. Like really plan out your rest and really, really rest. Don't do that. Oh, I'm on the beach. I'm half checking email or I'm kind of sort of looking over this. No, if you're resting, rest. Truly unplug. And if you are prepping, really prep. Okay? So let's talk about it. So how do you actually do both? How do you actually have balance with both? So let's look at your first 2 weeks. Now before, let me back up. If you are a leader, sometimes all you really have is 2 weeks. Like literally 2 weeks to yourself before you come back to work. Like especially if you work in a charter network. I can remember the administrators having off for 2 weeks and then they had to come back for summer institution or something to start prepping for that. So in some cases, especially if you're an administrator, you really only have 2 weeks. And I highly recommend this. Hey, if you own, because what you need to do, you really need to audit your SPED team. You really have to do that. And that's part of the core framework. That's the C in our core framework. The C stands for clarity. You have to audit your year to really see where the gaps were. Now, you being an administrator, you really only got 2 weeks to yourself. Outsource that audit. Hire the IEP coach to audit your year for you. Have us come in before the school year ends and we can audit your year for you. We can go through everything, show you what the gaps are, and give you a blueprint on how to fill those gaps. Because you only got 2 weeks. Work smarter. You only got 2 weeks. Some of you are married, you got families, and that is really your time. Not saying that you don't spend time with them throughout the year, but that's your time. Hey, you may go on vacations with your family, and you're not trying to be working while you're doing that. So if you're an administrator and you really only have 2 weeks, outsource the audit that needs to be done. So that way, when you come back, you got a plan, you got a blueprint basically telling you what you need to do. Now, if you actually have, let's say, maybe 4 weeks off, 4 or 5 weeks off, okay, we can definitely, you can definitely have that, you can definitely work this out. Okay. So what you need to do is like that first, you really need a good 5 to 10 days, 5 to 10 days to really audit your year. Okay. And so let's look at the first 2 weeks. Let's look at the first 2 weeks. That's like 10 days. We're not including the weekends, weekdays. That's 10 days. Now, you're not building all this stuff. Okay. You're really just auditing. You're looking over your year. Okay. So look at all the IEPs that were done that year. Like, really look at it. Reflect on all the IEP meetings you were in. Look at it. Were there any compliance gaps? Were there any timeline slip ups? Were there any compliance issues? Okay. Think about your progress monitoring that occurred over the year. Think about those difficult parent conversations you had over the year. Like, what was the root cause of that? Why did we have to have those conversations? Think about, even have an end of the year closeout with your SPED team, because you can get a lot of this information from them. What worked this year? What did not work this year? Audit your case manager workloads, because some may be heavier than others. Some may have been heavier than others, and you want to make sure you have equity. Okay. Map out and then look at, after you do all that, you actually have clarity, because you can see where the gaps are. You can see where the problems were. You can see where you fell short. Because if you don't do that, how can you honestly fix something if you don't know what the problem is? How can you fix it? You can't. That's why you have to audit. That's why you have to do clarity first. You got to have clarity so you know what you're looking at, what needs to be fixed. And the audit doesn't have to eat at your whole break. It does not. Have your 5 to 10 focus days, especially if you have a huge school or you have a huge population at your school. Have your 5 focus days and actually time block when you're going to do what you're going to do. Hey, for this hour, I am going to look at the caseloads. Then I'm going to take an hour break. Then, hey, I'm going to take another hour or hour and a half. You can do a 60-minute sprint or a 90-minute sprint focused on a particular area in the audit, so you can clearly see what happened over the year. Okay? Now, if you just start fixing stuff, you're putting band-aids on things. You're just guessing what happened. But if you start auditing in June, this is not you like guessing. You're leading. You're actually planning. You're prepping. You're like, okay, I want us to be better next year. We got to look at how this year went, so that way we don't repeat these same mistakes. Okay? Now, once you've audited, then you can start to build. Okay? You can really start building out your system. So you might have took a week or two to just audit and look over everything. So now you know what the gaps are. So when you return back to school for the start of school year, you know what has to be done. You already know what has to be done, because you've already done that work. You've already audited to see what the problems are, what the gaps are. Okay? So now you can start building, or rebuilding, I should say. So this is why the audit is so important, because it tells you what you need to build. Okay? Now, you're not building a quick fix. You're not going to build a band-aid to just put on this problem and this is going to hold us for a couple months. No. Your audit helps you to see what systems you need to build. Okay? You may need to rebuild your caseload. process or processes, excuse me. You may need to rebuild your progress monitoring system. Hey, we're really good at collecting data, but analyzing it is where we have the gap. You can start building a system for that. Hey, our parent communication system isn't the best. You can rebuild that. Okay? So then this is where you have your organization because you're building your systems, and then review them, revise them. Okay? And then in your building, because when you're coming back to the new school year, also because if you had like the 4 or 5 weeks off, you took the first 2 weeks to audit. You had your break the rest of that. You're resting. You have your blueprint of what you need to do going back into the school year. And so when you go back into the school year and you start building those systems before your team comes back, also build in those days, those non-negotiable rest days. I used to call them mental health days. And I would check out. Those were my mental health days. And this is where you start setting like boundaries to make sure you consistently rest properly. You take care of yourself. And by you doing this, you will model for your team how to set the same boundaries for themselves. Okay? For when they come back. Because you have to make sure you have rest. Because if you keep going like you're an energizer bunny, you're going to burn out and possibly land yourself in the hospital. And then you could really be out of work, or also you're not taking care of yourself. You can develop an illness. You can develop something. You know what I mean? Because you're not giving your body what it needs. So as you're building, also start putting in those rest days in on your calendar. Build those in. And those are non-negotiables. And this is you also building a system for yourself that protects your rest. It protects your mental health as well. So when you start the school year and you have your meeting with your team, you can model for them to do the same. Okay? Now, last couple pieces. You may have like when you come back, you may have to onboard somebody because you may have new staff. Don't do that. We'll figure it out as we go along. Train all returning staff. Don't assume they all know. They'll pick it up from this teacher or that teacher. Train everybody. Do mock IEP meetings using your new workflow that you created. Okay? Have like a parent communication calendar. Hey, this is what we're going to send to parents the first 30 days. You're creating a pipeline for that. Creating you can do your overview for the year, like look at your year, okay, what IEPs are we going to do each month? I used to do that when I came back. I would do the whole year. I would look at all the students, the caseloads, and I would start putting students under the month because I had a calendar that was just for my meetings. And I would start putting students under those months. So that way it helped me and the team move accordingly each month because we knew what was coming. And we knew what we had to prep for. Okay? And this is the execution part. You're following through with the systems that you built. Okay? So this helps you when you walk into your school. It helps you walk in. You're rested. You actually Did you actually have some focused work days where you audited what did not work at your school, and you built what which you needed to fill those gaps? And because you had focused work days, you were able to have focused rest days and actually rest. Not look at your phone. I'm not gonna say not look at your phone, because hey, if you like doing, you might play games, but not looking at your email, not checking your email, not looking at your work email, not looking at the IEP system, not D and D, for real. Okay. And this is me talking to myself too. I'm taking my rest too. That's the whole point. The whole point of building systems is so that you're not bleeding on your team and your team is not bleeding on each other. This is why we create systems to help us move efficiently throughout the year. And the whole reason you build a system is not to put a band-aid on something. It's so that, listen, this happened. We built this system so that that does not happen again. And again, systems help you get rest, and having proper systems keep you from bleeding on your team and overexerting your team. So block your calendar for the audit. That's going to be your focus work days, and block your calendar for the rest, for your rest. Okay? Protect both of them. Okay? And don't think of it working on all things at one time. Plan it out. What you're going to do. And hey, if you really don't have a lot of, I'll say, if you really don't have much of a break, outsource that audit. Hire the IEP coach. We do audit. We do that. We do diagnostics. That's what we do. That's part of what we do. Because this helps you to protect your rest. Because you're going to get a plan from us telling you exactly what you need to do. That's working smarter. You got the money for it. Use it. Because you don't pay us, you're gonna pay for it. You're gonna pay even more in the end if you don't do the audit. If you don't get that diagnosis done, you're gonna pay for it more. You're gonna pay for it with the success of your students. You're gonna pay for it with the burnout of your staff, and you're gonna pay for it in a lawsuit too. Because when you don't have proper systems, you really open yourself for great risk of litigation, because when you don't have proper systems, your data, you're going to pay for it in your data, where you're going to pay for it in an IEP meeting where you don't have proper data to support what has been going on with this student. Okay. All right. So we have come to the end of the live, but before we go, I want to ask you, do you have any questions? And actually, what's one thing about last school year you're like, listen, I can take a day or two of my summer to fix this? If you know what that thing you want to fix, drop it in the comments. And if you don't, put your questions in the comments. Put your questions in the comments. And if your questions come to you later, it is okay. You can send it to us via DM. We are very responsive on our social media. We are at the IEP Coach LLC on our social media. You can send us a DM. We will respond. Or you could email us at info@theiepcoachllc.com. Any questions? I know it takes a minute, especially if you're on your phone. It takes a minute to type out your question. What questions do you have? What questions? All right. And again, like I said, if the questions come to you later, don't hesitate to send us a DM or send us an email. All right. So just last call for the free webinar, top 3 IEP meeting mistakes and how to fix them. I'm going to drop it in the comments one more time. The next one is going to be May 28th. It is going to be May 28th. And I'm going to drop it in the comments right now. Okay. on IG. I have it pinned for you guys. All right. So it is hot. Please remember to hydrate. Okay? Please remember to hydrate and take care of yourself. Remember, don't push past capacity, because when you do, that's when burnout happens, and we don't want that. Okay? Remember to be kind to yourself and give yourself grace. You are one person and you're only able to do what you are capable of doing. Okay? What you are capable of doing. Focus on what you have control of. All right? All right. So we will see you all next Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great evening and be safe. Peace.